70,000 people, this place is home.
Don't wear a watch, it's Anglesey time.
With a mystical past and a breathtaking coastline, these islanders all share one thing: a special place.
Happiest place on earth.
And a sense of tradition.
250 years of history. Who wouldn't be proud to be part of that?
We follow the lives of these islanders as they revisit the past.
Do you remember Bertie the Barnacle Goose?
Oh, yes, I'd forgotten that.
And face up to the future.
We have to carry on. We have to carry on. My father expects me to carry on.
To discover why they're proud.
That's the big word, though. It's like Anglesey, like, you know.
To call Wales's largest island home. On Anglesey, summer has arrived. Up to 1.5 million tourists flock here every year to enjoy wide-open landscapes, summer sunshine, and an island steeped in history. Anglesey was the birthplace of the Tudor dynasty, without which there would be no Henry VIII or any of his 6 wives. Some Anglesey ancestors made their mark in battle. The Marquis of Anglesey's column, a warrior at Waterloo, stands proudly facing the Menai Straits. His country seat, Plas Newydd, given to the National Trust 40 years ago, is one of the island's major tourist attractions. Living only a mile away is somebody who knows it better than most. Lord Rupert Paget, son of the 7th Marquis of Anglesey, spent his childhood there.
It was fantastic fun living there. Massive house, so the opportunities to get up to mischief were enormous. Tremendous games of hide and seek and sardines, because we had 70-odd rooms to hide in, so it took a long time to deal with them.
Having retired from farming, Rupert renovated a house on part of the old estate. He's the only one of his siblings who lives close to the childhood home.
There are 5 children altogether. I'm the 4th. We're quite a bunch. But we had a big house to live in, so that was all right.
Of all his siblings, it was with his sister Sophie that Rupert, as a child, spent most of his time.
We were very similar in ages. She was my big sister. I used to annoy her a lot, and she used to annoy me a lot, but overall, we got on very well, and still do to this day.
Today, Rupert has invited his sister Sophie to visit him on Anglesey.
Because it's the 40th anniversary of the National Trust, we thought it'd be fun to go back there and remind ourselves of all the trouble we used to get into living in that massive house, which was extraordinary for us, because it was given to the National Trust. I was 18, and up until then, it just seemed perfectly normal for me to live in a huge place like that. And then gradually you began to realise, wow, what an extraordinary upbringing that was.
But this tour with Sister Sophie promises to be a bittersweet experience.
Just because it sort of gives you a link, I think, back to your childhood, particularly when your whole home changed dramatically at the age of 18, from being a home to becoming effectively a museum, as it were.
But Sophie isn't the only one heading for Anglesey. Hundreds of thousands of visitors pour into this island over the summer months. And some of those will be heading here. Near Anglesey's southwest coast, on its annual open day, the ancient burial site of Bryn Celli Ddu is ready for its first sightseers.
Oh, nice. Nice, yeah? That's basically what's being burnt inside that cauldron, a blend of various resins and herbs and oils mixed together.
Christopher Hughes is ready too. Today, he's taking a break from the day job
For the last 26 years, I've worked in a public mortuary. So I care for the dead. I'm a guardian to the dead, if you like, but I also perform post-mortem examinations on the bodies of those who have died suddenly in order to find answers. But I also deal with funeral directors, doctors, nurses, the police, and also members of the public who have lost people.
But today, he's Chris, head of the Anglesey Druids, and he's setting up their tent.
It's a gazebo, you know. Yes, a tent we would never do. Not in this wind, it's Anglesey, you know.
For Chris the Druid, it's one of the high points of the year. The summer solstice is just 40 hours away. At break of dawn, the sun's first light will shine through the entrance of this chamber, built over 3,000 years ago by the island's ancestors.
The thing that bridges us with them is the sun. And the majority of people who do come here don't actually realise that it's got that association with the sun anyway. So generally they're quite informed to know that it does have. And that's kind of splendid, isn't it? The fact that I think that was the last time we saw the actual effect itself happen when the sun penetrates the chamber, and that's what it looks like.
Yes.
Bryn Celli Ddu is the only monument in Wales directly aligned to catch these first rays of the sun on the year's longest day. But one thing may be missing, and it's crucial.
I don't think we're going to see any of the sun this solstice.
Don't you think? What's the forecast?
Derek, the weatherman, said rain.
Come rain or shine, with 200 kilometres of coastal path, designated an area of outstanding natural beauty, Anglesey draws visitors from all over the world. Nearly 2 million passengers travel to and from the island through the port of Holyhead each year. It's the UK's second busiest ferry terminal. But for some who belong here, life can be tough. Anglesey has the second highest rate of unemployment in the whole of North Wales. And Holyhead is where it's hit hardest. The town is also home to Mandy Gaskin. She's been going through some tough times. This mother of 3 and grandmother of 4 is unemployed and living on benefits. She has a tight budget for her fortnightly food shop.
Sacrifice for food. Once a fortnight. Just got to get on with it.
How much have you spent? Do you know how much you've spent?
It's about 30, you know, I've got to work it out in my head as I go along. Because I know it goes over. It's embarrassing because I've been at the till a few times and I've had to put a few things back.
At the till, it's time to find out if the bill won't break her £70 limit.
Oh, look.
It's going to come off anyway.
Yeah.
68.92. Yeah?
£5 off. Thanks, Del. Good guess.
Back at home, Mandy's taking the older grandkids for an outing.
I'm going to go to the beach and collect some stones and have a picnic. With the kids, they enjoy doing it here. The cakes. Yeah, then.
But now her own kids are grown, Mandy's got big plans to change her future.
Do you manage?
Not really. Survive. Yeah, but that's why I'm determined to get a job. And I think that'll definitely give me my own independence and things. And while you're working, you won't be spending, so I'll be able to get a bit of money behind me as well. Right, are we ready for the beach?
Yes!
Come on. Right, who's going to pull this with me?
At Plas Newydd, Sophie has arrived. She's going to tour the house with her brother Rupert, the only one of the family who still lives close to the home where they grew up.
And we used to have a croquet lawn here, didn't we, as well?
We did,
Which used to cause a lot of arguments, because it's a vicious game, isn't it?
Yes.
And then, do you remember our direct family, Aunt Caroline and her family lived at Vaynor across there?
Yes.
And you mentioned Dad with that huge megaphone he had. And they'd have ridiculous conversations across to the boathouse.
Across the Menai Straits.
Which is no longer a boathouse.
Absolutely. Right, let's go.
Going.
The family still own a top-floor flat here, and they can trace their history right back to a close advisor to King Henry VIII.
Yeah. All right.
But amongst the portraits of the ancestors in the music room is one of the man with whom the Anglesey name began.
Well, that is Henry Paget. He was what we call the Waterloo Marquis. He was second in command to the Duke of Wellington at Waterloo, in charge of all the Allied cavalry. And he lost his leg right at the end of the battle. But in the battle honours, he then became Marquis of Anglesey, so he was the first Marquis of Anglesey. Our dad was the 7th, and my brother, who's now noted, is the 8th Marquis of Anglesey.
But today's tour is more about remembering a few childhood scrapes.
The whole house is brilliant for game playing. Didn't you have some kind of steam engine thing in?
It was a genuine, real steam engine.
Yeah.
Looking like a steam roller, and it had a little dish at the back that you put methylated spirits in.
Oh my gosh.
And it really worked, and it heated up. So I was in here playing with it on my own one day, just about here. It was going along, and then I saw that the flames were beginning to go out on the little tray. So, not being very well scientific at the time, I got the bottle and poured some more in, but the flames are still going. So it blew back into the bottle. I dropped the bottle, it spun round, and there were instantly flames in a huge circle around here, that high.
Terrifying.
Massive. So I ran screaming into Dad's study.
Which is just across the way.
Just across there. He came out, took one look, and ran into where all our aunt's fur coats were hanging up and everything, and grabbed the lot and put them all.
Just threw them onto the fire.
And then we didn't communicate, the two of us, for at least 2 days afterwards, because Dad was just shaking with shock.
Top of there.
Rupert and Sophie and their 3 siblings had the whole of this house to play in until they left for boarding school.
That's where we used to do sardines, right round in the corner there.
Hiding right under there.
Yeah.
About 10 of us all squashed in.
Yes, giggling hysterically.
Until then, as children, they grew up under the charge of Plas Newydd staff.
We spent a lot of our time on the top floor, which was nursery land.
Did you have nannies?
We did, absolutely.
We did.
Yeah, very much so. And there was a nursery kitchen upstairs, and the nursery where we would have our lunch up until a certain age. And I remember there was a wonderful moment when I was considered old enough to come and join the grown-ups downstairs.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. When we were much younger, there was actually a night watchman, wasn't there, who used to walk around the house at night.
I do remember having a friend staying, and we decided to put banana skins down what was then known as the back passage on the floor to try and trip him up in the dark.
Cool.
Poor man. That's the kind of how naughty we were.
One man spent much of his childhood learning the tricks of his trade with his dad. 10 miles away in the market town of Llangefni, Mike Williams is trying to get that same business back up and running.
Where the old wall used to be.
A fire next door, nearly a year ago, caused over £750,000 worth of damage to his stock. It's time to get back on his feet.
The ceilings are now in place. Lots of decoration has been completed. We put new windows, and we're just starting now on the painting of the exterior. Okay.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of beds, sofas and furniture have had to be replaced.
Not having stock, you know, in October, I honestly, it was horrendous. I just felt exactly like farmers having foot to mouth, having empty fields, no animals, and this was an empty shop with no stock. So this area's been painted.
But some clouds have silver linings. Like a phoenix from the ashes, Mike's using the rebuild to give himself something he's never had before.
HQ, here we are. It's untidy at the moment, the builder's things. So this will be my office. The colour on the walls, that's going to be a nice restful colour, not too strong, and I like it.
But while some of the locals get on with the job, summer sunshine starts drawing the crowds.
According to my records, it's been the hottest day of the year so far here on Anglesey. The highest temperature recorded was 23...
Over £250 million pour into the island's coffers from the tourists that visit here. It's the island's major source of income. Mandy Gaskin's looking for an income too. She's been gaining skills through Communities First, an organisation which helps tackle poverty.
Obviously your portfolio of qualifications is building, which is really good, isn't it?
They're on the other side.
You're putting me to shame, Andy, to be honest with you. All these qualifications is fantastic.
I put them in on the side,
You know what, you're ready.
I am ready.
Do you feel ready?
Yeah, definitely.
I think you're ready for work now, so it's up to us now to work with you. Well, let's watch this space, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Work has been hard to come by in the recent past. The island has been hit hard by job losses. Nuclear power has ended here. 150 jobs went as Wilver was decommissioned last year, and nearly 400 jobs went when Anglesey Aluminium closed its doors 7 years ago. But this energy island is reinventing itself. There may be a new nuclear power station in the future, and this old site in Holyhead is set to create electricity and grow food. The plant overlooks Mandy Gaskin's favourite beach. It's where she brings her own grandkids to play, whilst hers was a scattered childhood.
Here! Should we stay here? No, we'll put the blankets and that here, and then you could go drop a bucket each.
When she was 7, Mandy was taken into foster care.
In and out, foster parents, in and out. Oh, I was in and out of care, like I could just come home on weekends to Holyhead now. And when I used to be in the homes, I used to run away back to Holyhead. And then I fell pregnant, and then they put me in Wrexham. And then I came home when I was 17, and they just put me in a 3-bedroom council house. That's it. Just get on with it. As you do, eh? We're building a sandcastle.
The support from Communities First has helped Mandy believe in herself.
Yay! It has boosted my confidence a lot, like, and especially, you know, with these courses, because I'm not very good at reading and writing. But I've passed them all, do you know what I mean? So that's really given me a boost. I don't feel ashamed no more, like I used to be embarrassed. Anyway, in Holyhead, I'll do anything. Even if it starts off scrubbing toilets, I will. Do you know what I mean? Even if I've got to work myself to the top, I will. Yeah. Ooh!
Look, she's got crab.
They do this to me all the time.
While some struggle to survive in the present, others are connecting with the past. In Plas Newydd...
So what are these?
They're teasels, so you can't sit on the chair.
Oh, is that what the point of it is? I didn't know what they were.
Rupert and Sophie are remembering a childhood spent in this 70-room country house, and they've reached the bowels of the building.
You know, it wasn't called the back passage. It was called the blind passage.
Oh, this is the blind passage. The back passage was the one beyond.
Yes.
That's right. OK.
The public may come and go, but for them, the connection here is personal.
And Dad's study.
Yep. I think we'll be naughty and step over the rope.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. You can get away with it.
Do that.
Their father's study has been left exactly as it was.
No shortage of desks in here, are
No,
there?
indeed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 desks.
Yes.
How many desks do you need?
I know, ridiculous.
There was often very loud music playing.
Yeah, well, he used to have Radio 4, Radio 3, sorry,
yeah.
on a portable Roberts radio.
Carry it around the house.
And it went with him everywhere. So if he was working in here, it'd be here, classical music while he's working, and then to go upstairs, you'd just hear this music travelling around the house wherever he went, carrying this radio the whole time.
Yeah.
Adored it all the time.
It was in this study that their father Henry, the 7th Marquis, wrote his life's work, an 8-volume history of the British cavalry. Working long hours meant that it was useful to keep things convenient.
Do you remember in here?
Yeah, does it still exist?
This was... It was a basin.
That's right, there wasn't a toilet because he used the basin to relieve himself.
He used the basin for the loo in here.
Is it still open? No, it is still there.
Look at it, it's untouched.
And that's exactly how it was. It was in a hell of a mess.
That's
And
incredible.
all he used it for, really, was to have a wee in the basin, save him walking miles to the lavatory. And I remember he used to store his cigarettes in there, and naughty children used to pop in there when he wasn't here and nick a packet. I remember that.
But keeping a house of this size grew more and more costly. Eventually, their father gave Plas Newydd to the National Trust in 1976, together with an endowment of £30,000.
Dad was absolutely desperate with his sense of history that this house should be maintained. So when he persuaded the National Trust, realising himself that he could no longer afford to run the place, he was extremely relieved to be able to hand it over to the National Trust, because he cared so much that it be preserved.
No, I mean, actually, when it first became National Trust, I did find it it's very strange.
Yeah, I do have memories, I think, of us perhaps chucking things, harmless things, at the tourists below.
Surely not. And then this is the main dining room. Oh, yes, have a look at this.
Yeah, well, Dad always sat here. This was always his position. And he had very sort of itchy feet. And as a result, this carpet, I like the way the National Trust have left this, because those are his marks, where he wore the carpet away over years and years and years and years.
Yeah. So when we were little, this was the main sitting room, the saloon.
That's right, yeah.
This is really where we all hung out, wasn't it?
Their mother, Shirley, lived at Plas Newydd for over 60 years, since she arrived as a young bride.
My mum is still alive. She lives down near where I live.
She unfortunately has dementia, but she seems to quite enjoy her life still, which is good.
I mean, she was a very beautiful woman. Yeah, sure, that must have been very soon after she first arrived.
I would think so, probably about 1950 or something like that.
Yeah. Look at the dress and the pearls.
Their father, Henry, died in 2013.
Dad used to stand, he smoked like a chimney, Dad, until about the age of 50. But I can always see him standing with his back to the fire there.
Yeah, yeah.
With his elbow out, smoking Sullivan & Powell Turkish cigarettes.
Untipped.
Untipped.
Sent up from Burlington Arcade.
Oh, yes, nothing but the best.
I mean, you and I started smoking at age 13, I think.
Yeah, we used to nick them off him, didn't we?
That's right.
Today's visit has been a trip back to a childhood, and it's all due to one man.
Give him a good wave, you know. Hi.
There's our ancestor on that lovely column over there.
Without him, we wouldn't have all this.
No.
And now, neither would the National Trust. This house now attracts 130,000 visitors each year and is one of the most important historic monuments on Anglesey. Elsewhere, another, more ancient historic monument is about to have its moment. As the dawn chorus breaks at Bryn Celli Ddu, it's the morning of a slightly damp summer solstice.
It's currently about 4:15 in the morning, and then people gather from now until about 4:45, and then we start the ceremony about 4:45 in the morning, and it goes on for about half an hour. When the sun rises, we acknowledge its power and honour the fact that it's it that sustains all life on this planet. And unfortunately, this morning it's unlikely that we're going to see the sunshine or the sunrise, but we are accepting of that. We live in Wales and it's summer.
Gods of land, gods of sea, gods of sky, come unto me. Gods of land, gods of sea, gods of sky, come unto me. Gods of land, gods of sea, gods of sky, come unto me.
That was the Druid version of YMCA. The pinnacle of the ceremony itself is when the sun rises over the farmhouse over there and the tree line and penetrates a beam or a shaft of light directly into the centre of the chamber. It is a very private ceremony, and it's just a highlight of their spiritual calendar, their spiritual year. It's a very important moment for people.
At last, the longest day has dawned.
Behold, the rising of the sun. Blessed be the sun.
But for Chris, like the cycle of life, it's also tinged with a sense of loss.
There is a somberness to this one, because the sun now goes downhill. We're moving now back towards winter, even though we may feel that we've not even had a summer yet. But actually, the sun takes a bow. It's an amazing thing to see. It's a shame that we don't get an awful lot of opportunity to see it more often. But when you do see it, it's quite remarkable to see and witness something that our ancestors actually saw all those years ago, 5,000 to 6,000 years ago. And that's a rather moving thing, because all that passage of time is so difficult to conceptualize. But when you see what they saw, they feel closer somehow. And the fact that people come here is testament to the fact this is a living monument. It's not a relic. In my lifetime, I've seen it once in my entire practicing years as a druid, once, you know, so. But that's fine, we know it's risen, we know it's there.
Back at his home on Plasnewydd Estate, Rupert's journey to the past is over.
But it was fascinating going back round it with Sophie. I hadn't done that for years, remembering all the stuff that happened before we moved out. Because you tend to move on in life, don't you? You don't look back. But it was very interesting and quite sad in a way, seeing it. You're realising that your whole childhood was spent in this extraordinary environment. Inevitably, however good the National Trust are, and they are very good, but it does become a bit like a museum. Everything's tidy and in its place. Whereas when we were there, of course, it wasn't like that. It was full of mess and chaos and running around. And you can't do that anymore.
Next time, one Holyhead lad's thinking big.
I want to put Holyhead, North Wales and even Wales on the map.
While Mandy gets put through her paces.
I've never used a till before.
Right, now's the chance.
But for another man and his mum, it's the end of a year-long nightmare.